Uh, oh, okay. That's very odd. Okay. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I will see who joins on now. We're doing, there's a couple of people. Hi, everyone. We're doing this particular tour for some peculiar reason in vertical format. That wasn't my intention, but hi, Cheryl. Hey, Riz, shalom. Um, we're doing this in vertical because it just wouldn't start horizontal. Whereas I usually start horizontal and then I go vertical at the beginning of the day. So, hi there, AMB. Welcome back to your happy place. Chris, hi. Nice to see you. Hey, Cindy, lovely to have everyone here. Hey, Diane. So I know that I haven't been doing, hi, Jay, a lot of tours lately, but I've got one of our other gimbals here. So I should have gimbal success. So hi, everyone joining on. Nice to see you all here. Welcome, and it is spectacular. Hey, Shelley, nice to see you. Hello, I got people joining in from Michigan, friends of mine. Merle, hey, Becky, hey, MP, you're welcome. And hi, Pat. Say hi, Deborah. Nice to see you there. So many people come in. Say my friend Becky just joined on. She works in Missoula, Montana. How cool is that? Hiya, Merle. Shalom. Nice to see you. Lovely to have everyone here. So we were just coming up um, to the lake, and it was super kind of foggy this morning, but in a right way. It was just beautiful, and because the last time I came here it was so foggy, I actually detoured, went away, and came back. But now it's lovely. I'm over by the canoe club here. Hi, Jen. So hello to everyone. Now I am sorry if I miss you saying hello. Hi, honey. There's that. But if I miss you saying hello, it's just because it tends to fly by on Facebook Live here. Now the views will be a little different than normal because I'm in vertical rather than horizontal, and I can't change it once I start, but it just wouldn't connect in the horizontal. I was tapping the screen and then I banged my head again. Put it up. So I was going to start over here, but actually I'm going to wander around a little bit. So I'm up at Lake Louise, the jewel of the Canadian Rockies. Tirumno, which is the lake of the little fish, that's the historic name of it. Tom Wilson named it Lake Louise on the Victoria Glacier, which gave birth to the lake. It is about 2 kilometers long, and it is coming down off the glacier. But how should we start our first view? I think there's some people taking, but here we are. Let's start right here. So I'm over by the canoe club. You can rent a canoe for the cheap price of $135 for an hour if you'd like. But let's just have a look at that for a start of the day. That probably is, look at that for a morning view, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't that just gorgeous? Marty, hey, nice to see you, my friend. So I'm here where they just opened the canoe club here. So you can see all these people lined up. I think there's a group actually all canoeing together. That is Mount Fairview up back there, and you see all the gorgeous, spectacular yellow trees up there. Those are the mountain larch or the tamarack, and they've all just popped in the last 10 days. So fewer animals around at the moment, but you couldn't have a more spectacular time to be here. I am here, of course, oddly enough, working because that's all I ever appear to do. But I am with a group of 27 people from Ireland. And as every Irish group I ever have, they are just so much fun and enthusiastic. But it is interesting with the different nationalities, the different questions I get. Hey, Charles, nice to see you. Bonjour, mon grand. Um, but it's always interesting the different questions I get. And as I'm coming along here, because these are mostly people who work in farming in Ireland, and as we're driving through the park today, a gentleman said to me, so is this commercial timber? I'm like, no, it's still the park. And of course, the sheer size of it is remarkable to people from obviously countries that are a whole lot smaller. So hi there. But yes, so this lake in the middle is about 100 meters deep, about 300 feet, and it is a classic moraine. We're looking across here to Little Beehive, and there's Lake Agnes up there where the tea house is, and then to Mount Piran. Piran was the patron saint of Cornwall. And as I curve around, coming into view, although with lots of construction going on, is the mighty Chateau Lake Louise, 650 rooms out there. Joanne, they're from all over Ireland. Majority would be from the southern counties. So in fact, I have one couple whose surname is Toomey, and they're from Middleton. And I'm sure at some point, at some level, we're related somewhere. Um, and lots of people from the Waterford area as well. Hi, Anna Marie. Nice to see you here. Welcome back. Look at this gorgeous sky. So there's fresh snow on the mountains this morning, all around Banff and Canmore. Cascade Mountain was just spectacular. But I know someone had asked for a tour out here at the lake, and my friend Pam who works here, of course, she is overseas right now. She's in the UK. Hi, Linda. So it's so nice to look at that back there. So that glacier in my lifetime has lost about a third of its mass. So that's important, but you see the dusting of fresh snow out there in the distance. I just seen the light is just catching Fairview up there, and those are all those larch trees that are just erupting in color, and they will lose their pines in the next little while. Hi, Judy. And then that will be that. Winter will be here. So you can feel winter coming in. In fact, I can right now see my breath just coming out. It was 3 degrees in Banff this morning. It was probably freezing here, I would think. It's now probably 4 or 5 degrees. But how's that for a view back there of the lake? So I don't think anyone tires of Lake Louise. Mary Beth is saying gorgeous, and she has been here both in summer and winter. In fact, Mary Beth has stayed. Hi, Carolyn. Nice to see you. Stayed up at that hotel with me before. Do you know, as I always do these days when we talk about the cost of living around here and the cost of traveling, I always, as I go into Banff, I always look up what hotels would look like for the weekend. And if you wanted to stay at the Banff Springs, even now, even though we're getting into slightly shoulder season, this weekend it would still cost $2,500 for 2 nights in Banff. Up here would be something equivalent. I mean, it is shocking, and it shouldn't be that expensive. Now, when I look up and I look at the glaciation, you see the glaciers. You can look at the contours, the texture, and the glacial ice up there. So roughly, hey, Chloe, roughly 3 meters of snow to get 2 centimeters of glacial ice, or 9 feet of snow for an inch. And then the glaciers flow, and as they flow down, of course, the crevasses open. Ruth, I did not take a plunge in the lake. I had a cold shower this morning, so I should have, I do like jumping in the lake. I am going home. I stayed in Canmore last night with the group because we finished kind of later. I will go home today because I have to pack up. I'm going to be away now for nearly 20 days. Just so you know, everyone, I might try and do a short live video tomorrow night, if I can. I'm going to be staying at a place called the Crossing, Saskatchewan River Crossing. There's no phone reception there, but as I'm staying there, I'll have Wi-Fi. So if I can, I will try and do one just to have it, but I will be up at the ice fields tomorrow. But on the 1st, I am flying to Halifax, Nova Scotia. So I'm going to be back in the Maritimes. I haven't been back to Nova Scotia since before the pandemic. Of course, I was in Newfoundland last year. So do watch for some tours. Hiya, Paula. I see all my Irish friends coming on. I see I'm here with a group of Irish people who all walk around, and they're lovely. I mean, they always are. We're having great fun. And like anytime I'm here with friends from places like Ireland, they're always just taken by the vastness of it. I also love the diversity of people we have around here, but it's so much quieter now than it was a few weeks ago up here. When I'm in the high summer and I come out for a day trip to the lake from Banff, I'll sometimes leave as early as 6:30 or 7, because by 10 o'clock in the morning you could have 10,000 people out here. But I just want to come and curve around a little bit. Um, yeah, I will. I will definitely do a couple. I'm actually spending 2 nights on Prince Edward Island, so I'm gonna have to give you, Nadia, hola amiga. I'm gonna have to do a couple of tours. I'll have to do Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island, because back in the days when we used to have a platform for live virtual tours, I don't think we ever saw a tour. We did see one in Halifax, but we never saw any on Prince Edward Island. And yeah, Nova Scotia is gorgeous. And really, although they've been hammered by some storms recently, so looking very forward to getting back to Nova Scotia. And then try not to sit beside me on an airplane when I leave Nova Scotia, because whenever I fly away, I sing continuously, "Farewell to Nova Scotia, farewell to the sea." That's kind of a national song. Now look at this view down the lake. So this is the start of the creek that flows out. Again, there's a huge volume of water in this lake here. Everyone, my friend Nadia lives and works way down, way down in southern Chile. So a pretty magnificent place as well. And as we move into winter, they're moving into spring. But there's enough flow in this water down here. Hi, Elise, nice to see you. I didn't think you were going to turn 40 for another 10 years. But as this water flows out, there's enough volume here that fish were able to swim up into here. Say it was called the Lake of the Little Fish, which is pretty significant because about 80% of all the mountain lakes did not have fish pre-contact because, of course, they were just pure glaciers. Let's go wander around a little more. Gonna get past all the masses of people around here. Sorry, I'm just gonna get around the truck pulling through. And when you go into the hotel, it says residents only, but I walk in anyway, and you're allowed to. Look at that nice little vegetation down at the bottom. Hey, nice to see you. The colors are fantastic. So let's see, there's basically two trees that change color around here. We don't have any maples. We're far too high in elevation for the maples. So down in the valleys, we have the aspen, the trembling aspen as you know them. We don't have any silver birch here. We're too high up, but the aspen are in the birch family. And then high up, of course, are the fabulous tamarack trees. And that mountain, the back of Mount Fairview, up over here, that entire thing erupts with color. I do have a new gimbal. Hey, trees, nice to see you here. So yeah, the back of there, and people just line up forever. And you have to hike in groups of 4 if you hike back there because there's so much bear activity. Down at the Continental Divide, at least I know, down at the Continental Divide is totally closed for hiking at the moment because of a huge grizzly around there. And it's clearly taking that one seriously because there were 2 big signs saying totally closed, big grizzly. So it seems appropriate. But yeah, here's the lake itself. And say if you went straight across the middle of the lake, it's 2 kilometers to the back. I think a couple of people watching here have actually walked across there with me. You will remember, well, I'm going to get home in the mid-October from the Maritimes. There'll be ice on it, but it's about November that I'll be able to skate on the lake. You may remember, some of you, last year I was able to actually, hi Cheryl, nice to see you. I was able to skate to the far back of it. Look at this lovely little person. That's a pretty nice view for a kid. I was able to skate to the back of it. And so sometimes we hope in November, if we're really lucky, we will be able to skate on lakes before the snow really falls and it all freezes. That's your best case scenario. Now, lots is going on up here at the chateau itself. They're doing a huge amount of construction. It's obviously within the original footprint of the old hotels. There's a hotel going right back to 1890, but this one was built and designed by Rattenbury, the same fellow who designed the Parliament building in Victoria, and then it had a fire in 1924. They rebuilt it, and they didn't winterize it till the 1970s. Out here, there was once upon a time an outdoor pool. So obviously that was permitted, and they're building a fancy new spa there. Hey, Michelle, nice to see you. Now let me just come up to the edge of the lake, because I come around to the side, and I can be a little bit more private out here. But a tiny bit of wind is blowing across at the moment. But you see this gorgeous turquoisey color to the water. And the turquoise is, of course, the rock flour. And the glaciers melt from the underside. That's how all that ice sticks up on the side of the mountain. And it melts down. And of course, if a glacier gets really dirty, then that's really spelling the end of the glacier. But you can hike up. You can climb up to the top. And there is actually a mountain hut up there run by the Alpine Club of Canada. I'm just going to keep moving. So many people around. I'm just going to keep moving around. Right there. A few of my folks walking around. Do you know, it's, look at the flowers are still out here. So yeah, hey, isn't it gorgeous? Yeah, the flowers, they're just a little bit warmer because you have some ambient heat that comes out here. But come back in January, which I will be here, of course. Well, I'll also be in Mexico in January. But you come back here and it's all ice carving. So registered hotel guests beyond this point. Hey, thanks for the stars. But see how I am basically a rebel? I'm pretending I'm a registered hotel guest. But I have stayed here many times. And I love having breakfast down here in the morning because you sit there and you sip your tea. You look at the sky over the glacier. And literally, Ruth, when I arrived here, it was foggy, but I knew it was lifting, so I felt it was worth the risk. And it just literally cleared up as I walked down. So up there's a little beehive now. And up there is Lake Agnes. They have the tea house up there that's open just in the summers. And one time I was driving here to do a virtual tour very early in the morning. I went and got coffee down in the village. And I picked up 2 women who were hitchhiking back up the hill, and they actually worked there. They were picking up supplies. That was really good. We still hitchhike in this part of the world because it's still safe. But yeah, look at that view. And I'm just feeling the sun now coming out on me, and it's so nice to feel that sun coming along. By the way, if I'll just see, obviously coming up from the east, but the morning light was just so fantastic today. down the valley because of the fresh snow. You will see way up on Mount Piran, you'll also see some of those beautiful yellow tamarack trees up there. So it's so nice for everyone to come and join me. I really appreciate you coming here. If I didn't say hi to you, it's because it kind of flies by quite quickly on Facebook Live. And we are in, the views will feel a little different to you because I'm in a vertical position here rather than a horizontal, and that's just how it started today. We are over by the chateau itself. And I will sneak out here. I want to show you a couple of plaques out here. Isn't the view fabulous? Yeah. So hi to everyone who's joining on. But the lake itself, it's only a 45-minute drive from Banff. And I usually recommend driving out on the highway and then going back on the older road, the 1A. I find it makes for a nice loop and good for spotting animals. Let's have a little view over here. So this is the lynx here. Now the lynx are fabulous animals. We see them up at the ski hill quite often in the wintertime. Look at the big paws. So why these animals are so interesting, the long legs, but they're quite a stout little body, but the paws are disproportionately large, and that's because they act like snowshoes in the winter, so they're fabulous hunters in the winter, right? Is that right, Jane? Yeah, aren't they wonderful memories? And we come over here, here are the mountain goats as well, and we'll be looking for mountain goats tomorrow. Mountain goats are just gorgeous, and they are actually the main food for cougars, for example. So they're fabulous climbers. I have been rock climbing my whole life, and I'll never climb as well as a baby goat. But when we come over here as well, we are in grizzly territory up here. But really, if you want to get me super excited, I'd love to see a wolverine. I've never seen one in the wild, even though they do live here. And they are really interesting. I see pine martens all the time, which are a smaller version, but the same family. And then we just go up for these wonderful views up here. Let's wander around. I have the last few visits. I haven't wandered too far this way just because of the noise from construction, but it's not too bad today. So it's kind of nice to wander along. This plaque needs to be redone. But this is telling us about the old chateau. So there's the cabin from 1893. They don't attack humans, no, not at all. The wolverines, they have a reputation for being dangerous because of the huge teeth, but actually they just run away. And then of course 1924 was the fire. So then they had to rebuild the chateau, but it wasn't winterized until the 1970s. And it is amazing. And in fact, when you do stay here, when you get really, really cold, they do have signs up in the room saying, please remember to close your window because it can cause, of course, the pipes to burst, which is a huge issue. And maintaining such a massive hotel is a lot of work, but it is interesting. And of course, they have a lot of staff as well. If anyone wants a job, they're always hiring. So let some folks get by. Yeah, it's interesting. On the back of her backpack, she has a bell. Sometimes the Europeans will come here and they wear bells because there's this old thesis that the bells will scare the bears away by making noise. Doesn't work though. All our bear experts tell us that it just sounds like birds to them. So that it's not the right thing to do. You got to clap your hands and carry your bear spray. Now, in the winter, this will start freezing again in about a month. And so you can ski, you can cross-country ski along the lake. You can ice skate on it. You can go up the back. You'll ski touring up the back there as well. So it's quite a mix. I'm just going to go up a little further to a different bit of a perspective. Hi, Nicole. Nice to see you. That's right, Chris. You are. Yeah, Michigan is the Wolverine state. That's right. I did actually know that. Yeah, the bear spray again, but I think it's always important, and I mention this all the time. I have taken my bear spray out over the years, probably 15 times, I guess, but I've never ever used it. Let's just be a little artsy here for a second, shall we? We come down here with the flowers and the lake at the back. Isn't that just gorgeous? It is such a beautiful morning to be here, and the light now as it's moving across the mountain up in the distance here. It's just such a treat to see. So, I come honestly to Lake Louise so many times a year, but I always enjoy it. And I think it's easy to sort of fall into say, oh, it's too many visitors, but there's a reason why so many people want to see it. And of course, I get to see it at so many different seasons that it's always pretty magical. Okay, I was wondering if the statue is still here, and it is. There's one statue here, and this is the monument to the Swiss mountain guide. So I'm glad that hasn't moved. I think that's an important little monument there looking up onto the glacier. So that's what that gentleman is doing. Yeah, and the Swiss guides. And again, Minodes in Banff, for example, it was owned by original Swiss guide. So Lake Agnes, to do the hike up to Lake Agnes, is 3.4 kilometers, but it's a fair bit of uphill. So if you haven't been here before, you will actually, or if you haven't been at the elevation, you will feel the elevation for sure. Um, I'm up right now at about 1,900 meters, about 5,700 feet. So that's where we are up in the world there. Um, I, you know, Joan, someone sent me that picture of the bear eating, the video of the bear eating someone's picnic in Mexico, and I wrote back and I said that's just terrible. And the person who sent it to me said, "Well, why? It's cute." I'm like, you know, our fines are up to $25,000 for feeding animals. Once an animal becomes habituated to human food, you're basically ending their life. Right? It's um, basically a death sentence for them because they become dependent on it. And a place like here, where the volumes of people change dramatically, or a bear doesn't eat good, healthy, diverse food for itself, so it is a real tragedy. I dislike seeing any videos of animals being fed by people. Over here, there we do have a moment to reflect upon Takara, which is light glistening on water. Right, that is an Iroquois word. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't particularly like the word hate, but yes, it was such a shame to see that because, once it happens, I love the fact that anytime I see wildlife here, they are in their own natural setting, which is really important, I think. Extremely important. So, now you can see how busy this is, even on a little slower time. So, here's the tradition of the hiking down through here. So lovely to see. And the plain of the Six Glaciers Tea House. 1927. So, but you can plunge in the lake. You last about a minute. It never ever gets above 10 degrees Celsius. There's a yappy little puppy wanting to talk to another dog. And I'm that way when I see other Albertans around the world. But bonjour Marie-Claude. Bienvenue au Lac Louise. So here we are at the famous lake itself, and we are indeed in the province of Alberta here. So again, that ice is gradually, well, quite dramatically receding is the honest truth. But this is a classic Cirque Valley, right? Cirque Valley means, of course, it was filled totally with ice. And one of our fun quiz questions here is, of course, the last ice age was the Wisconsin Ice Age. And we say, when did the last ice age end? Well, it hasn't ended because look at the ice up there, right? So we're at the very, very tail end of the last ice age. North of here, hour and a half, are the Columbia ice fields, of course. The second largest non-polar ice field in the world. Sorry, a bird just caught my eyes. I wanted to see, probably a Clarkson nutcracker I'd like to show you. So we have gray jays around here. Clarkson nutcracker, the only nutcracker in the Rockies, but they're extremely important to the ecosystem because they harvest the seeds of the white bark pine, which is some of the highest pines that grow around. And they have a very long, tough thing about filming birds is they fly away. And by the way, our garbage bins here are bear-proof, so you have to slide your hand in. Bienvenue, Nathalie. So, see the next couple of weeks. I will try and do a few more. Once I get down to the Maritimes, I'll try and do a few more of these live tours intentionally, just because it'll build up some content, and because I haven't been back to Nova Scotia since before the pandemic, it'll be nice to be back there. I'm obviously crossing my fingers for good weather when I'm at Peggy's Cove, the most photographed lighthouse in the world as well. But where I'm going from here today is I'm going to take my group down into Yoho Park, and just to go see the spiral tunnels. Of course, so often everyone's fascinated by the trains down through here. Now, in the early days, the trains came through in 1883. They were finished 1885, but they came through. Thanks for the stars there, Dan. And they descended down into Yoho Park, and the hill was so steep that they had to rebuild the train eventually and build the spiral tunnels. And I do have a couple of YouTube videos of the spiral tunnels, which are just remarkable construction. And if we're lucky enough to catch a train through there, when Diane was with me, she caught a train in there. If you're lucky enough to see one, if a train's over about 140, 150 cars, it'll be in 3 tunnels all at the same time. But we're so lucky that the trains or so much freight travels by train and not on the road, so they're not all big trucks all the time. But that's what we send down to, and the second oldest national park is Yoho Park over on the BC side. And of course, as I mentioned to many of you over time, Yoho is a Cree expression of awe, and so we translate it simply as well. Look at the thistle here. So for those of you, for you Scots on board, there's some tail end of some thistle this time of year. Lovely flowers. What a treat to see them. So, oh, there's the nutcracker just flying by. Excuse me as I just cough a little bit. So I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to wander around. Hi, Greg, nice to see you. Excuse me. Um, I love walking around here too and listening to so many different languages and accents and everything. You know, it's such a huge variety of people who come here, but it's now the road up here is in terrible shape now. It's been really beaten up by sheer volume and harsh winters. And the plan is to resurface it next year. But how they're going to time that, because it's a short window for construction, of course, needless to say, because of course, winter is so long here. And so that'll be interesting how they come up with that as well. It's so much fun. Everyone getting their photos. And it's not too often to have much wind out here in the lake. I'll give you one more little view here just across to Mount Fairview there. And you see those beautiful. Is that right, Craig? Hey, pal. So, yeah. So Craig is over, and I think you're in London, aren't you? Oh, yeah, Craig. 9 years ago, we were down in the deep south, and I just had a group. Craig, you'd love it. I was just over in the UK with a group from Louisiana of Cajuns. We had so much fun. So my liver's still recovering, but we had so much fun. And that's amazing, 9 years. That's where social media is a good thing. So everyone can start planning their trips here. I will, and I don't know when, so please don't ask me, but I will put on a Winter Rockies trip one of these times. I'm just so busy, is the honest truth. And it's lovely to be busy, but at some point I have to go home. And my kid, of course, is in grade 12. Finn and his friends are driving into the city today, and they're going to an expose about all the different universities in Canada. And it's so funny because he's going to go there and talk to lots of them, and they're going to say, come to our university, and then he's going to stay home. So yes, for people who've known me all the years ago, my boy's in his last year of regular school. And this creek flows right down 4 kilometers into the valley there. And then eventually, I tell you what, we'll do one little detour, and we'll come back and have a last view of the lake itself. I just want to show you a couple of things down through here. And yes, 5 years ago when I fractured my ankle, I'd bring groups here and I'd sit down on the edge of this with my foot in the water. Look at the bushes all changing as well. So again, we don't really get the reds so much. We do a few sumacs that'll change, but of course we don't have maple trees or anything, so that changes a little bit how the colors change around here. And 90%, 92% of our forests are evergreens, and so they're obviously green year-round. But the growing season has changed, and there was fresh snow over on the ski hill today. One of my neighbors works at Lake Louise ski hill. He runs all the equipment on the hill, so they'll be hoping that the ground freezes up soon, and then they can start prepping everything for the ski season. And I have not quite done it, but I need to buy my ski pass before October 15th, and I'm going to buy a midweek pass again, and because I just ski every year. And last year was not a great year for snow, but I'm sort of hoping this year will be, although they're not promising us too much. So this little plaque over here is just talking about the water used in the area. And I would bend down and drink this water out of the lake, no problem at all. Wouldn't even think twice of that. But here is a bigger story of one. Look at that, twice burned, lesson learned. Of course, in the early days, it was all candles and everything. So. But yeah, big change. There, the original log structure from 1890. But if we went down here, if we were to follow this stream down the whole way down into the Bull River, I would almost guarantee to see a bear. Because the bears right now are just eating. I am going into Yoho with my group here now in about a half hour. Partly because I want to show them the spiral tunnels, but also I'm hoping to maybe see a bear, because I just haven't seen bears for a few weeks now, which is quite typical because the berries and the flowers are gone from the valley, so they've moved higher up. They're getting ready. They're feeling cold, and they're going to plan on standing at about the middle of October. And so what they're trying to do is just put on as much weight as possible now before they go into that long sleep. Hello, bonjour. So I'm just coming towards the end here, everyone, but I'm going to go back up and give you another fabulous view of the lake. I think we've had ça fait plaisir to voir. And you see there's some just dancing little clouds and some early morning fog. And my hand's actually cold because I've been holding the gimbal now for a half hour. I would say it's probably 3 degrees Celsius up here right now. So 40, I guess, Fahrenheit would be my best guess. So somewhere around there. And I've just seen another nutcracker on top. Oh, there's another one flying by right now. Yep. So, and that is, that's a nutcracker. And you can always tell because the very long black beak on them. Now, I don't like them coming this close to people because it means, of course, they're associated people with food. And if you ever want to see me get upset with tourists, which I almost never do, it's if they feed them. But look at this gorgeous bird. There you go. Look at that lovely. There is the Clark's nutcracker right there, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful long beak designed to get right into the cones of the white bark pine. Oh, ça fait plaisir, Samara. Oui, c'est vraiment magnifique ici, toujours, hein? And there's everyone out in their canoes. I did think it looked like it was a group going on. Hello, you beautiful bird. We just wander, and there's a bigger canoe there with a flag on the back of it. It is a beautiful bird. I saw a great jay. Last time I was here, I saw a Steller's jay, which we do see. I see them more in the winter than the summer around here, but I haven't seen one today. Let me just skirt around here, everyone. I'll give you one view up the middle here. It's gorgeous. So here's another bird coming across. Boom. Yeah, they are precocious birds, very intelligent. Of course, the magpies are everywhere, and they're brilliant. And again, for all my friends from Michigan and center of the states or eastern U.S., it's so funny because all my Irish all know the magpies, and they recognize them immediately. And then we call them the Alberta pigeon, and yet people from sort of central states and everything don't know them at all. So I have to somehow work out why there are magpies here, and I know it's a slightly different breed over in Ireland, but nevertheless, but not in the central areas. So it's just one of those unique things. And this is how busy it gets, even on a quiet weekday here. Talk about some of the other animals around here. And there you go. And look at the hairs will all be changing color now. They'll be turning white. So it's so nice to have everyone joining in. And I apologize that I'm not doing more of these live tours at the moment. I'm just so busy. And I had gimbal problems, which is very embarrassing when but this one's all working now. So I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming by, and thank you for coming for a visit to Lake Louise with me, because the next time I'm back here, because I'm not getting home till, I fly home October 14th from Newfoundland. Larry, is Larry's birthday today? Well, Larry, if he's there with you, Merle, Jean de pays, c'est à ton tour de te laisser parler d'amour. It's great. I love having birthday celebrations on tours. And I met Larry, well, a couple of times when they were here. It's always so nice. Hey, happy birthday, pal. And there is, of course, another view of the lake behind us there. Hey, well, that is fabulous to have a birthday here. And I hope you're doing so well. You just had a great big trip here. So I don't know what else you're doing. Hi, Sue. So I'm back here in the little bit of forest. Ça fait plaisir. Es un gusto verles. I have been today, in addition to giving the tour coming out here, and I just enjoy this. I mean, it's not. I mean, I'm still getting paid, so I can't say, but it's so much fun to be with all these folks from Ireland, and they're farmers, so obviously they're very interested in the agriculture, as you can imagine. So really, with them, we had a couple of days in Calgary. We're sightseeing these few days here, and then day after tomorrow, we're going to head out to the prairies out and do farm visits. Very specifically. So that's just going to be a great experience. And they'll be right up their alley. And, they feel the cool, but people who come from Ireland, the UK, you come here, and of course on paper it's colder, but it's so dry that it's so much more bearable. So I'll give you one last little view down through here, everyone. And take it down. Take you down to the edge of the lake one last time. Hey, Mike. Sorry, pal. I'm just about to say goodbye, but I was chatting with your brother today, Mike, so that's pretty fun, isn't it? So there we are back at beautiful Lake Louise, ladies and gentlemen. And there you go. You can rent a canoe. And um, and the big difference between our live virtual tours and canoeing is on the canoe, you don't want to tip. I like that. I'm just going down the edge of the lake. The lake is dropping a little bit right now. Um, if, you will, Craig. Come on over, pal. And really do take a package because travel independently here is so crazy expensive these days. So, so there we are. So whatever's going on in your world, I hope everyone is healthy and happy. And if you're not, I hope you're getting taken care of well. Well, thanks, Henry. So as I always have liked to say, peace and love. But I also always have to leave you with a hook, right? I have to give you one little story to keep you coming back to find out next time. And I do want to tell you about the time I was out canoeing here literally really early in the morning. And I was alone and I was canoeing down to the far side. And I thought it was actually like a mystical creature I saw, but there was this woman down at the far side and she was doing yoga, but right down by the cliffs. That's where we rock climbed down there. But she happened to not be wearing anything. So then I canoed gently forward and she turned